Working, you guys. Our internet's crazy, and it's just because we have things that we need to be able to access, and it's weird. If any of you guys are computer nerds and you know about this kind of thing, it's like some sites are working and others aren't, and it just doesn't make any sense. We've tried all sorts of fixes, and anyways, we're in the Amazon now, deeper in the rainforest, in a Kichwa community. The Kichwa here were slaves brought here from Peru by the Inca, and so there must have been a huge population here because there are stone tools all over the ground, pottery shards. The property owner here at this, it's a chocolate. It's not a chocolate farm here, like a cacao farm. There are some cacao trees, but there's like a cacao museum that she's building because cacao actually was discovered here. And in case you're not familiar with cacao, it is the, well, let's see, that's a cacao tree, and see if I can get it in the, somewhere up there. It's hard to do this with the phone backwards. Yeah, there's a that yellow pod there is a fruit, and the fruit kind of tastes like pineapple, and I don't know, it's very tropical and delicious. What's up, man? It's full of all kinds of bioflavonoids and antioxidants, and it's used in rituals. They're actually cacao shaman. It is supposed to like help connect you with the heart, which actually makes sense from a biochemical point of view, because the only psychoactive compounds, and they're very mildly psychoactive, are phenethylamines, which are, that's the class that MDMA, so it's related to MDMA, but very, very mild. And so, you know, that probably has something to do with why we associate chocolate with romance. Cacao actually was first introduced to Europeans in Ecuador. I'm not going to say that it was discovered in Ecuador, because I think the indigenous people probably knew about it all throughout the jungle. And it's everywhere, which really surprised me. As a wild food, it's pretty abundant. It's not hard to survive in the Amazon rainforest in terms of food. There are these, hopefully the internet works well enough. There are these palms here that are everywhere, and the young shoots, actually here's one, this thing, sorry, I had to set you down to pick it up. This thing is just a shoot. I just pulled it out of the plant, and you can eat the white part. And I mean, that alone is enough that you could sustain yourself. You know, it's never too cold. It rains a lot, so that's really the biggest concern, I think, would be keeping dry. If you're ever stuck here, which we might be about to be, which is not really the best thing. There's a bridge. There's only one way out of here. It's a bridge that goes over the Napo River, which is this. You guys see that out there? Yeah. The Napo River behind us. There's a bridge, and that's the only way out. And so, when the lockdowns happened with COVID, they locked that bridge, and you're just stuck in here. So, we're hearing rumors that they're going to lock everything down again, and you know, what is that, like 2 or 3 months? We are in no shape to last for 3 months back here. I mean, aside from the fact that we can eat cacao and maybe the monkeys or something. I don't know, cacao and palm. I mean, we would survive, but we're definitely not in a position to go and buy 3 months worth of food right now. So we're kind of hoping they don't do that. What else were we going to talk about? Oh, okay, here's some really interesting stuff. So some of you guys might have seen the movie At the Point of the Spear, I think it's called. It's about the local Waorani tribe. They're maybe 20 minutes down this river from here. They were only contacted in 1974. And, you know, I had just assumed, I guess, that they had had a lot of exposure after contact, but apparently that's not true. They are... Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. All I'm thinking right now is that we have to scramble to get funds together and stock this place up with 3 months worth of food or whatever, just in case. Because once they lock it down, it's not just the Kichwa community where we're living. They'll lock Miss Hawaii in too, and then they'll lock Napo. So there's nothing coming in or going out. And honestly, it's partly like racism. They will say that it's because the indigenous know that their plant medicines cure COVID in like a day or two, and they're just not worried about it, so they won't wear masks. And so, you know, I mean, I guess it's valid to say maybe they could be spreaders because they may be able to kill it themselves, but they're still carrying it around. They don't leave here though. I mean, and not a lot of people come here. I don't really see the necessity of such extreme measures in the middle of nowhere in the Amazon rainforest, but I'm not the one calling the shots. So, yeah, that's making me a little bit nervous at the moment. But anyway, so the Waorani, this is really crazy. A couple months ago, we were in Shell, and there was a plane on a pole, like speared through the plane. And when I was a kid, I read this story about how the Christian missionaries had come, and they had landed once, and they had interacted, and everything was cool, you know. But the Waorani were telling them, okay, here. They tried to give them gifts and stuff, and told them, just take my pet parrot, whatever, get out of here and don't come back, you know. But the missionaries don't know what the fuck the Waorani are saying. The Waorani language is the third least studied language on Earth still to this day, and partly because they're not exactly approachable for the most part. I think it's better now, but you know, they're pretty weary of outsiders and would kill you. Their spears are huge. I don't even know how they throw them, but you're not going to survive it. And man, would that suck. You're really far from a hospital, and you're not getting any morphine or anything. I mean, that's yikes. Getting speared in the middle of the jungle, it's fucking suck. And it just happened to a girl, but we'll get there. Within the last couple of years, another missionary, when the Waorani tell you not to come back, don't come back. She apparently didn't believe them or something. And so, well, it looks like we're gonna have to make this short. It didn't occur to me that I needed to charge the phone, but I'm mostly just doing this to make sure I can live stream, because I wasn't really sure about that. But we have a sound system here, so no more gay ass fucking terrible sounding music live streams. I'll actually be able to record with a decent sound, so that's cool. So anyways, when we were staying in Shell, if you guys follow me, you'll remember that. So like the frontier of the Amazon, it's like when you're barely out of the Andes. And okay, so the story, the plane, the missionaries landed, the Waorani told them not to come back, and missionaries didn't understand. They thought they were friends because they didn't get speared. So they left, and they came back, and they dropped a Polaroid picture down onto the beach, and the Waorani saw it and were like, they've trapped our souls in this plastic thing. And so when they landed, they killed everyone on the airplane. And the great irony, of course, is that the Waorani or the missionaries were indeed trying to trap the souls of the missionaries, but not in plastic. So when we were in Shell, I didn't know, you guys. I mean, this was like that book. I think it was in One River. Like that book and that story were. You know, I mean, I read it a bunch of times as a child. It was like one of the things that originally got me fascinated with the Amazon. Like, I was seriously bullied, and I mean, that's not even the word, really. It's something way more extreme than that. because I wasn't Christian growing up, and I do see still to this day, even though, you know, in the description I wrote that I'm forgiving Jesus. Maybe we'll get to that if the camera doesn't die first. But, you know, I've got a pretty serious grudge against Christianity, and for good reason, I think. I mean, I'm trying to get over it. I'm trying to do better, but I don't think I'm wrong either. So at any rate, you know, I really liked like the idea that the Waorani were spearing missionaries. You know, I thought they were like heroes to me. As like an 11-year-old or whatever. And so when we got to Shell, I noticed this airplane on a pole, and I thought it was odd, but I didn't have any way of knowing. They didn't put a label on it. You know what I mean? There's no like concrete thing with a, you know, like, I don't know what the fuck they're called. Like in the States, if they have like a statue of Robert E. Lee or something, there's a little plaque, you know, there's no plaque or anything. So when we arrived here, the Elizabeth, the owner of the property, was telling me some of the stuff that I didn't know. And one of those things is that plane is the plane that the missionaries all got speared in, and they put it on a spear, like up in the air in Shell, to somehow as a way of signifying that they wouldn't spear missionaries anymore. So this plane that we were walking by every day on our way to town was the plane from that story that I was reading as a child, and I didn't know that. But they put it on a fucking spear and then put it in this town. Like, so on the way here, there's only, you know, there aren't that many roads in the Amazon. There doesn't need to be. There are rivers everywhere. You know, if we go to town now, we call it a river taxi, these really long canoes that come and pick us up at the backyard there, and when we go to town. So, you know, if you're going to come to this area, you have to go through Shell. So everyone that comes here passes by the plane that had the missionaries murdered in it on a spear, you know, and that was the Waorani's, somehow the Waorani's gesture of peace. How are the monkeys cooking food? That actually isn't a joke, although it's maybe a little bit of hyperbole or exaggeration. Not really, though. I mean, he literally is cooking something that he eats. You can see videos of it on this channel. On TikTok, it's, you know, the monkey is pretty much famous, I guess, like world famous lighter monkey. There's millions and millions of views on this, and rightfully so. It's fucking crazy, and I'm pretty sure it's the only video documentation of a wild animal using, it's not using a tool, it's using technology, okay? A lighter may be rudimentary technology, but it's technology. And the monkey understands how it works, and it is not a trained monkey. It is not a trained monkey. It will bite your face off. That's what, like, so many people have hated on me. Why don't you take the lighter? And I've posted videos of what happens if you try to take something from this monkey. It will, like, literally rip your face off. Like, it's cool. It came and sat in my lap one time, but it's not comfortable for that to happen. Like, the smaller ones and the females are fine. Like, I wouldn't really worry too much. Like, if you have fruit in your hand and they're on your neck or something, you probably should just give it to them, because they will maybe bite you. But the male, the alpha, it's like basically a pit bull with jaguar teeth and opposable thumbs. So the people that are like, what the fuck, take the lighter from him, are stupid, or they've just never been around a monkey, or I don't know what the hell they're thinking. Because he has attacked me trying to get my water bottle back from him, and I mean, it's scary, you know. So anyways, this monkey is, first I got him rolling the lighter on the pavement, and I could tell he had figured out that he had to tip it onto the button to release the gas, because he would hold it lit. He knew exactly what he was doing. And there are duets and stitches all over TikTok of people trying to light the lighter like the monkey, and it's actually like nobody can do it, you know. There are humans trying to do it all over TikTok, and they're like, damn it, you know, can't get it lit. So it's not easy. So the other day, what happened was I was walking to the park, and I saw the monkey again, and he had a lighter again. And because he steals them every chance he gets. Like, if he sees someone lighting a cigarette, he'll drop down and grab it. He pulled one out of my hands once. Like, if he wants something you have, he'll just come at you and take it. And you're going to give it to him, trust me. Unless, again, you're stupid or you don't like your fingers or something, because he's going to take it. They are incredibly fucking strong. It's amazing how strong they are. And so he ran up the tree to try to light the lighter, and the bark was too slick. So I witnessed this. I have it on video. he stopped and he looked at the lighter, and he was like thinking about the wheel, and he took his other hand and he pushed the wheel and held it, and he's like, oh, okay. And so now he just lights it, sometimes with one hand, sometimes with two hands, but the monkey's using his hands to light the lighter. And then the reference to cooking the food is that the reason he does it is that he burns his fur, and then he eats the singed fur. And some people have suggested that, because they eat the parasites on them, that he's trying to drive the parasites up to the top with the heat. But it does look, I mean, you can watch the videos. He definitely eats the singed fur. I mean, he burned the fur and then he eats it all. I mean, I've been like 8 inches away. I can see exactly what's happening. He's definitely eating every bit of little burned fur, and then he'll burn some more fur and he'll eat it. So applying fire that you have created to anything that you're going to consume is cooking food. I mean, the fucking thing is cooking food. So, yeah, that's been crazy. Lighter Monkey has gotten famous as hell. And I mean, I've got the videos licensed to a few people. We've gotten paid just a tiny little advance, but who knows? I'm sure if I was a little bit more savvy, I could figure out how to really capitalize on this. And I want to do it in such a way that it helps the community here. I don't know that it would be the best thing to try to use it to attract tourists. Like, hey, let's give the fucking monkey a lighter and watch him burn himself. I mean, it doesn't seem like that's exactly how to go about it. But then again, I mean, this monkey has a lighter, whether you give it to him or not, almost every time I see him anymore. He just steals them, and then he has them, and then he lights them. So, and I know for sure that he didn't know that he could light it with his hands up until when I was watching him, because I've seen him trying it, and he'll go up and he didn't get it. That wood didn't work. Yeah, the video has lots of views on TikTok. It has 17 million or something so far. And then it's on other sites and stuff too. But yeah, I have like 50,000 followers on TikTok. I have to figure out how to approach brands and stuff. But if I want to, and I do want to. The going rate, it's like for every 10,000 followers you have, it's $100 per 15 seconds. So I should be able to charge $500 per 15 seconds as an influencer at this point on TikTok. But I have to find brands that are interested in advertising on flaming monkeys and weird anti-Christian messages and stuff. Okay, so I figured something out that is huge on the metaphysical front. We haven't talked. Oh, did we get finished with the Warani? No, let's finish the Warani thing. So, so that plane turned out to be the plane that the missionaries were murdered in, which for me was just amazing to see. It's this crazy story that I read about in multiple books as a child, and then here's the plane in this random town. It's like 3 hours away too. I don't know why they took it way over there, away from where it happened. But so they live down this river right behind me, and you guys may have seen some of the pictures on my Instagram or Facebook of me with like the children and the women. I've never met a Warani man. I don't think they leave the community, but what I was told when we arrived here is that the woman that owns this property has been here for 15 years. And she said that when she got here, not one of the Warani had seen a toilet, never been in a store, never eaten in a restaurant. They had never gone to town, even. So that's when it really hit me, because I have interacted with some of them a little bit, that they are like literally still living traditionally. Like, I mean, the kids are completely naked running around town and stuff. The women still have like orange paint in the traditional dress, and sometimes they're carrying spears even. And I had met somebody that kind of made a crack about how it was touristy. So I don't think I was really, I was kind of looking at it like a Disneyland kind of prop or something almost, that maybe we're just dressing up. But no, they're seriously paddling up the river in a canoe with spears and they're new to civilization. And it's not much of a town even, and I doubt any of them have gone beyond it much. So it is possible to go and visit them. And what Elizabeth told me is that they are as dangerous as the day they were contacted, which I don't think is. They're not going to just kill you just for showing up or something. It's not like that. But they did, I guess, within the last few years, spear another missionary because she came to the community and she was going on about whatever and turned all the women against the shaman and just generally creating havoc, trying to convert them to Christianity. And which is, by the way, made me, I'm absolutely determined to get down there. I mean, it costs money to get a canoe and go, and now we're worried about lockdowns. And so please support us on Patreon or the PayPal and Zelle links in the description. There's a Binance Smart Chain wallet. We're trying to get into a whitelist. Be careful out there, by the way, you guys. I know I don't talk about crypto much anymore. It's not because I don't care, but it's because really the only thing you can do that's safe at this point is invest in Cardano and wait. And we don't have thousands of dollars laying around to do that, so we're not doing it, but you probably should. Not financial advice, but there's just not really that much to say. You know, if you want to go gambling in shitcoins, which, you know, I've been doing because tiny little amounts of money that we need to explode to huge amounts, or there's just no point in doing anything at all. So, but the rules are changing constantly. It used to be that if a project was doxed, if the devs were public, and it was audited, it was not a scam, and somebody rugged a huge project a couple days ago that everyone knows where the guy works and stuff. I mean, it's absolutely incredible how bad it's getting. So you really do need to be super careful unless you're just investing in Cardano or something. And that's all I have to say about that. But so yeah, I'm super determined to go and meet the Warani because they still have their old belief system intact. I've even considered trying to exchange like English lessons for Warani lessons, because that would make me one of 10 outsiders or something that speaks the language. And I think I could probably make it happen. I'm sure it would be extremely difficult too. But to be able to converse with people that have so little contact with Babylon or whatever is very appealing to me. And you know, they're one of the last groups of people, and certainly probably the only group that you could contact without serious concern of like killing everyone in the tribe with a virus. Like there's an uncontacted tribe in India on that island. You know, a couple of people have gone and talked to them. Sometimes they kill everyone that tries to show up. Pretty risky, but they say that it would just kill them to be exposed to outsiders. I don't think that's the case with the Warani here so much. I think they've had some exposure, at least coming to town for a decade and a half. It's crazy. I don't know how old Miss Hawaii is. Where there was a town only 20 miles from an uncontacted tribe up until 15 years ago. It just seems so crazy that there are still places like that in the world, and I'm glad, and I'm very happy to be in one of those places before it's gone, which is what's going to happen if we don't get our shit together and do something about it. The Chinese mines are still a threat, and I'm increasingly determined to try to make some kind of contribution to protect the area. I've also realized I was extremely naive coming here, and just imagining that the ayahuasca industry, I think it gives us a sort of unrealistic and romanticized perception of what indigenous communities are like. At least those of us that are in the ayahuasca industry to any extent, and you're expecting this like warm welcome and receptivity, and that's not reality always. I'm sure it is sometimes, but in general, that's not how it happens, and it's still very, very dangerous. So this like wild plan I had to like come down here and just go out into the jungle with the Shuar. I mean, we were invited, but you know, when we got here and met some gringos that were more experienced in those kind of scenarios, they were basically just like, "You are out of your fucking mind." So, I'm not totally 100% invested in their advice. I think that it's still doable, and that probably your average gringo is maybe a little prejudiced and a little bit more fearful than is realistic. At the same time, though, I think I was definitely way too gung-ho and needed to slow down and think about what I was doing a little bit more. And I feel like we've had that opportunity, so now it's time to, it's like I've positioned myself 20 miles up the river from Warani. And the next step is to slowly start making some contact and see what kind of relationships I can develop. Because they'll still kill you. And that was the story I was getting to. I guess the girl, the missionary, came and was trying to convert and created a bunch of havoc and was turning all the women against the shaman, because the shaman's kind of like the priest. And even though it's not really like a religion, it's just like the shaman, the way that I would think about it is they're like an antenna. And they're just receiving signals from DNA via biophotons, and they're very good at consciously processing this information that all animals, plants, and people receive subconsciously. And so it's, you know, but what she was thinking, I think, is that you have to discredit the priest, you know? So she tried to turn everyone against the shaman, which is not gonna work. You know, so they told her to leave, and then they told her, if you come back, we will kill you. And I guess last year or something, she went back and nobody's ever seen her again. So, it's still real out here, you know. It's still the jungle in certain spots, and somehow we've landed in this. It's just so crazy to me that I didn't come to this specific place intentionally, really. And it's like this, you know, landmark story from my childhood is right here. You know, the people are the grandchildren of the people that speared those missionaries are coming to town once a week. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any sympathy really for missionaries that go and try to convert people to their religion. I would spear them too if I thought I could get away with it, probably. But, you know, I did, you know, I put in the description that I was going to forgive Jesus, and I mean it. Maybe I can actually plug the phone in here and just sit on the ground. And what I meant by that is that, you know, I mean, I suffered a tremendous amount of persecution as a child and an adult, I would say. And I think that we all have been negatively impacted. Our sex lives have been impacted to an extent. I mean, you know, you might not be Christian, but if you have grown up in a Christian culture, you have, you know, the Judeo-Christian influences have still worked their way into your subconscious. And, you know, I notice it in myself. I'm very, you know, self-analytical, and I can see this influence that I didn't ask for, you know, and it doesn't serve us. It's not good. It doesn't help anything. It's, you know, but what happened, actually, to cut to the chase here, is that I saw this American, what does he call himself? He's a Native American on TikTok, modern warrior. And he's always like, hey, colonizer, you know, and then he says a bunch of racist shit most of the time. And of course, he's completely convinced that he's not racist. And I, you know, I've known a lot of Native Americans really well. My grandmother was Native American, and I've lived on 3 reservations, I guess. And I can promise you that they're as racist as, you know, the day is long. Like, and people say, well, you know, that's, of course they are. Look what we did to them. We deserve it. And although I do understand that perspective, it doesn't serve them or us. You know what I mean? And it is something that we need to resolve and to move forward somehow. And I realized as I was thinking this about Modern Warrior that I needed to have that attitude towards Christians. because I mean, they're basically the same people that he's hating on. But and it's a difficult thing, when I suffered so much. So much at the hands of Christians just because I wasn't Christian growing up in the South. It's very difficult to forgive and to transcend it and move on. And it's not anything like what Native Americans suffered at the hands of pioneers. But we do need to unify. And the enemy is not me. The enemy is not people with white skin. The enemy is not necessarily Christianity's. It's the people that are manipulating all of these groups into doing things to each other, which is really what is behind it all. And even though there's a lot of chaos and there's a lot of disharmony and there's a lot of confusion, I do see a lot of progress being made. I see bigger and bigger voices, like Russell Brand making propaganda videos all of a sudden. Which a lot of this has been obnoxious for me because my channel has been demonetized. I'm very small, but and again, I'm not trying to boast, but all of this stuff that Dakota Wint put out this thing about the Indians, the Native Americans in Mexico and the Star Tribes, and I made that video 3 years ago, and he's got 500,000 views in 10 minutes or whatever, and I'm like, I did this what is this, And then Russell Brand, it's like he's making whatever videos I made a year ago now, and his audience is like, he's breaking new ground, and I'm just like, man, what the fuck, like, what? But still, I'm glad to see that it's getting out to a larger audience, and I think what's worse though, it's not so much that these guys do so much better than I do, it's more that I got such negative reactions for saying the stuff that they're celebrated for so much, and maybe their timing's better or something. I was just like too soon. people really just went after me so hard during 2020, and my audience was a lot larger, and it shrunk, and people were hateful, and it was just a mess. And now I'm like watching all these people now saying the same stuff, and everyone's applauding them, and I was like, damn it, And I do appreciate all you guys that have been around forever and have noticed it and appreciate me, but it does get on my nerves, to just it's like the opposite to the reaction that I got saying the exact same shit. Maybe my delivery needs some work or something. I don't know. So there was something else. Okay, yeah. So I have been talking about this relationship between consciousness and light, and suggesting that it's consciousness that somehow compels energy to order and symmetry, and that even though the sort of new agey way that idea is presented in like The Secret and those type of like the manifestation crowd, right? They sell it, they oversell it, but there is something to it. And I finally realized that what I was missing, like, what is the mechanism that facilitates what is the force from consciousness, like I guess so, man. I don't know what the hell. I mean, I guess both of those guys are brunettes, but they're both white, aren't they? I mean, anyways, the force is electromagnetism, and I don't know how it is that or at least that's what we call it. And electromagnetism is actually kind of a broad spectrum of functions and functions, I guess, is a good way to put it. But that was a crazy one, I was just a couple of weeks ago laying in bed or